everyone. Thanks for joining Game Trade Media at Alliance Open House. I'm Gretchen, and I'm here with Chris and Stephanie from Funko Games.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. So what do you have here for us?
So this is the Funkoverse Strategy Game. It is the first actual game from Funko Games. Our studio that Steph and I are at have been making games for a long time. We were formerly known as Force and Creative. We also went by the pen name Prospero Hall. But this is actually the first game that we're making as Funko Games. It is a tactical strategy game. It's a miniatures game where you and I will sit across the table from each other. We're going to pick a scenario to play with, and then we're going to pick a team of characters that we want to go into that scenario and do battle with. So what we have set up here is sort of our flag scenario instead of Diagon Alley. And on one side we have Harry, Hermione, and a basic character called an Auror. And then on this side we have Bellatrix, Voldemort, and then a basic character called a Death Eater.
You're not supposed to say his name.
Oh, the Death Eater?
No.
Bellatrix?
No.
Whose name am I not supposed to say?
He must not be named.
Oh, the bald guy.
Yeah.
That's me. All right. So in this game, like I said, there's different scenarios. So we're going to race to gain a certain amount of points. So because we're playing with 3 characters per side, we're going to try to get 10 points. And the way we gain points is pretty simple. We can move characters using actions across the board and collect these point tokens here. And so if Hermione collects this point token, Hermione's team would get that, and this point token would go over here on the cooldown track. And I'll explain how that works in a second. But just know that there's points in the board you can get, and they respawn as the game goes on. There's also ways you can gain points by knocking characters out. So if Bellatrix and Harry are facing off here, Bellatrix can attack Harry, in which case she would roll some dice. And, oh, that's a huge hit. Harry, unfortunately, rolls his defense dice, and he doesn't quite get enough shields to block it, so he's knocked down.
Oh, no.
And then if Bellatrix hits him again before he stands up, he's knocked all the way out, in which case he would go to the cooldown track. And then Bellatrix's team would score a point. So those 2 ways to gain points are the true in every scenario that you play. So you'll always have that as a strategy you can lean on. But each scenario also tells you a special way to gain points. So in the flag scenario, the primary way that you can gain points is by getting across Diagon Alley. So if now that Voldemort has an open lane, he can run all the way down here using his actions to get next to his opponent's flag, in which case he'll score 2 points. So it's kind of like a capture the flag scenario. But the neat thing about our game is that there's 4 scenarios in every single box, and they all sort of require different strategies to play, so that if you're playing this game, maybe you want to have fast characters because you're trying to get across Diagon Alley quickly. But if you're playing territories, you might want to swap them out for more durable characters in your collection. And the neat thing is all 6 of the games that we're coming out with are compatible, the same system. So if you get the product home, you can mix and match to your heart's content and kind of run your fantasy matches. Then the way that you do the actions are really neat because each character has special abilities. And Steph, if you want to go and talk about how you use these special abilities and then the rest of the cooldown track stuff.
Yeah, so the special abilities are where you're going to get into the dripping theme of the game. So you'll hopefully really feel like Bellatrix or really feel like Harry Potter. Each of them have these special abilities and a passive ability. So you'll see these tokens. This is kind of part of the strategy of the team building. You can pick your team, which is actually building out your resource pool. So Bellatrix has these dots at the bottom, a silver and a blue dot, and Lord Voldemort, I said his name, has a silver and a gold dot. So these are the tokens that you then bring to your pool that you can use to use these abilities. So if Voldemort wants to use Fiendfire, which is currently the strongest attack in the game, he takes a silver token and it has a 4, so he puts it on the 4 of his cooldown track, which means it's a really powerful ability. It says range 2, challenge 6, so he gets to do a challenge rolling all 6 dice at a range of 2. And as the game goes on, that'll sort of tick down, and then he'll eventually get that ability token back for either him or Bellatrix to use. If it's not as strong of an ability, like Bellatrix's Mos Mordra, she needs a blue token, which you put on the 1. So that ability she's going to be able to get back more quickly, but that lets her place herself on her cooldown track, letting her kind of appear next to one of her allies on the board. So each of these abilities are, very appropriate for their characters, and it allows you to do something different than the basic actions of the move, the basic challenge, assist, interact, and rally, and stuff like that. You also have these passive abilities. So Voldemort has the Dark Lord, which whenever he's knocked out, instead of going on the cooldown track, he gets to go back into play because he can't be killed, obviously.
Oh, that's clever.
And Bellatrix has the Notorious Witch. So that's how she gets to be placed adjacent to her ally. So that's comboed really well with her Mos Mordra ability. So each of them have kind of these different passive abilities. And that's kind of the fun in the game is going, do I want to use this silver token to do more more Fiendfire or Confringo, or do I want to use it for Bellatrix's Confundo or Imperio because it's a shared pool of abilities. So that's kind of the strategy in the game is, do I want to use this for that? Do I want to use that for her or him? And then waiting to get your special ability tokens back down from the cooldown track.
Yeah, and the cooldown track is really kind of the center part of the game, because not only do you use it for the character's abilities, but as I mentioned earlier, when you collect a point token, that token also goes onto the cooldown track. So eventually, 4 turns later, this will appear back onto the board. So that always keeps the game moving, lets you know that there's always points that can come on the board. So sometimes in miniatures games, you can kind of stall out, and everyone is just trying to like roll dice until they get something. But in this game, you can kind of look ahead and say, okay, well, in 2 turns, this token's going to appear back here. If I can get in position to go grab that, maybe that's what I need to get my final point to win the game. And then lastly, when characters go on the cooldown track, they also come back into play. So our thing with the Funkoverse is that at launch we have 6 games, 16 characters that are coming out. Every single one of those characters is somebody's favorite character.
Oh, yeah.
And we want to make sure that you have a chance to use your favorite character. So in our game, you're never out for good. You always come back into play and can do battle again. So you always get to do the cool stuff your character does. So, yeah.
And I see you have different things. Like I mentioned earlier, Bellatrix has her little dagger that can be moved to multiple people, you said, could end up actually having it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the items are interchangeable. So we can take this dagger off of Bellatrix, and we can actually, and then give the dagger, and the dagger card can go to a different character. So other characters can hold that dagger. And then Harry Potter has an item as well. If Steph wants to show that off.
Yeah, Harry Potter has the Felix Felicis potion. It's a luck potion. And this is the first time that Funko Pops have been able to hold items, too, so that's kind of cool. This is also a new sort of pop size, 3 inches. But the idea behind the game is, I mean, if people want to collect it, that's great, too. I actually have several unplayed board games, so that's technically a collection. But the idea is that people want to play the game. That's really our goal with this. We want people to collect Pops, but we want people to buy and play the Funkoverse game. Hopefully it's for everybody, because we have a lot of these different modules. So if you don't want to do a lot of combat, there are some scenarios that are less combat oriented, or you can have maybe a team that's more mobile that can get points on the board. Less than doing combat. So some can be combat heavy, some can be a little bit of both, some can be more just environment based.
So really it's just flexible to your particular style of gameplay.
Exactly. With the characters you pick, the items, the modules, the maps, the different IPs that we have. This one we're showing off now is the Harry Potter 4-pack, which is going to be available along with the other 5 SKUs on October 6th. It'll retail for $40. The 2-pack, which we also have a 2-pack in the Harry Potter world of Draco and Ron. And so the 2-packs are $25, and these are also standalone, even though they only have the 2 figures.
That's awesome.
They have these generic character tokens that'll let you play a 2v2, whereas the 4-packs will let you play a 2v2 or a 3v3. We also have the DC Batman game. That's a 4-pack, so that's got a lot of fun characters in it too. And that one also has a 2-pack of Catwoman and Robin. And then because we wanted to prove that we're not just doing the big IPs, although these are big IPs too, we have Rick and Morty and the Golden Girls 2-packs, because we really wanted to prove that we're not messing around. We'll put what we want in this game too, and we hope that there's lots of fans of it. I'm a huge Golden Girls fan. I watched that whenever I was younger, so so I'm super stoked this is in the game. There's actually some of the tankier characters in the game, and you'll hear us use kind of sort of like video game terms, like cooldown is a video game term, and like tank and support and range and stuff like that. But that's really just to show that there's a lot of utility and versatility in the different characters. So all 6 of these will be available.
Just like with your regular Funko Pops, in this game there's just a fandom Funko for anyone.
Yeah. Funko's motto is everyone's a fan of something, and we're bringing that into the Funkoverse too. So we're going to expand these IPs, add more, and hopefully people can find their favorite team for their favorite scenario and keep playing.
I think that when we were going to design the game, we wanted to kind of create a sandbox, and what you were talking about exactly hits nail on the head, is that we want to have players give them the tools that they need to play the game that they want to play. So, you know, we know that some people might be a fan of Harry Potter, but, you know, you might also be a fan of Golden Girls. And if you look at people's Funko shelves at home, it's usually a broad range of things. So it's kind of, they capture all of your interests. And so we built the gameplay to kind of support that style of play, and that you can kind of mix and match and create custom scenarios if you want, and do all those types of things. So to give you an idea, you know, we're launching with these 6 SKUs, but we'll be announcing some more SKUs later this year. And you're going to see a whole bunch of other characters that are coming out. You'll see characters that are new, and IPs that are new.
I like the mischievous.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Yeah, you'll see items that are new, and IPs that are new to the Funkoverse, and you'll also see some continuations of the ones that exist already.
Yeah, we're fans.
I'm already thinking my favorite fandoms, and I'm like, all right, let's see. I'd like to see some of those on these board games.
When the camera's off, you can ask us, and we can.
Or we can just play. You don't have to do any more work. We'll just play. Yeah. No, Chris and I play. We're fans. You know, we help develop the game. Chris is the lead designer of the game, but we had a whole collaborative studio of people, and we still play this game. So truly, it's a game that we made because it's the game that we want to play. It's not just something that we were like, well, maybe we can sell some of these. I mean, I'm a fan because I got like a 3-character dunk on flags against Chris like a couple weekends ago and won the game. So I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I hope people do too.
So where can people find more information about these games?
So if you go to funko.com/Funkoverse, you can find a lot of information about that's already out there. We also are really active on BoardGameGeek.com. So if you go to BGG, I mean, we're answering tons of questions, and we're there responding to people. That's kind of the best place to go if you're just looking for information right now. And then if you follow, obviously, Funko on social media, that's the best place to hear about sort of the announcements and be the first to hear about the new stuff that's coming out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming by. Thank you for showing us all of these. I mean, the Funkos are just amazing. all of them.
They're pretty great. Yeah.
And we will see you at your friendly local game store.